Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to the Get Firm podcast. It's Mike and I'm your host. So, anyway, we got some weird stuff going on here with cryptocurrency and the stock market and things of that nature. But I want to get into something else real quick first before I get into the meat and potatoes of our little 10-minute podcast here. And that is your results in life. They're going to totally be dictated upon the people that you surround yourself with. So, you could say winners versus losers. I don't like to be calling people losers. So we'll just say the doers versus the wannabes. We'll call it that. So if your friend group are people that are talking about building wealth, building business, building their body, improving their health, taking care of their family, or doing the right things for the community, you're in the right group. If you're hanging around with people that are telling you about how they're so broke and they can't survive. Meanwhile, they have a 7-bedroom house. They have a household income of $80,000 a year. They just bought a brand new car they can't afford. And they're telling you, I can't afford groceries. Well, why'd you buy the brand new car? It's totally unnecessary. Why is your house so big? Totally unnecessary. And then they're just like on and on about, oh, I can't get in shape. I can't get healthy. I can't build wealth. It's like there's doers and there's do-notters. And that's really it. So surround yourself with those who are trying to improve their life. And I realize everybody has hard times and we go through issues where it's like, oh man, health issues, health scares, loss of job, loss of income, loss of client. I deal with this stuff all the time, every day, running a small business. Sometimes I get no leads for 3 months. Other times I get 10 leads in one day. And you just got to make the best of every interaction that you have, which leads me to my second point. You have to be networking. You must be meeting new people. You can't stay in this little box and expect everyone to come to you. It's not going to happen. You need to get out there and meet new people. So that could be fantasy football groups where you meet a bunch of new guys or girls and that type of thing. It could be going to the gym and actually talking to people. It could be church. It could be long hikes. It could be little groups. It doesn't matter. You need to be networking. That's how you build your business and that's how you build your life. So, on to the finance. Bitcoin right now at 112,000. Womp womp. We were all the way up to 125,000 and now we're back to 112. Buying opportunity? Yes. It is a buying opportunity. I still see Bitcoin going to 500,000 by 2035. And then it will probably come back down to a even 400,000 and bounce around there. Some people are saying $20 million a coin. Not this guy. XRP, right now, we are sitting at XRP is at $3.01. So we're maintaining above the $3 mark. I see XRP $15 by the end of 2026. So here's something cool that I was doing with my friends. And I said on Instagram today, if any of you follow me on there, is I called out 6 stocks, 6 investment opportunities, we'll call them that, in the last 12 to 16 months. And they were XRP, Bitcoin, Bonkcoin, Joby Aviation, Celsius, the energy drink, and Surf Air Mobility. Between those 6 investments, we've done 166% return in the last year. So that means $1,000 became $2,660. Bonk was actually a flop. Bonk was 17%. That's the only one that barely beat the S&P 500, which is up 15% right now. I am not saying not to have the S&P 500. Any smart investor, 80 to 90%, depending on their risk tolerance, is going to be in the VOOs, the MGKs, the QQQs, gold, and maybe Bitcoin. The last 10% should be in speculation. That's what makes investing fun. 10% is not going to ruin your life. Then if your 10% swells to 30%, you take 20% off the top to keep it in range. Keep it in range on your portfolio. So if you go up 1,000% and you make all kinds of money and Bitcoin becomes 60% of your portfolio, you have to take profits. You don't have to, but that's how you get more rich. Rich people will take profits. Poor people will watch it go up and watch it go right down. It's just the truth. So you always have to scrape some off the top. How do I do that? Well, if a folding goes up, a holding, not a folding. If a holding goes up 50% from where I bought it, I take 25% of the profit and I put that into a NEOS fund, QQQI, SPYI. They track 15% of the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ, and the other 85% is in covered calls, which kick back 12 to 13% into your pocket every month. Once that gets to $500,000, which I'm not there yet, but once it gets to $500,000, you're getting $60,000 to $70,000 a year in residual income that you don't have to work for. Holy shit. Stop. Listen to that again. When you have $500,000 in those two funds, it will kick off $70,000 in dividends every single year. If you're making $70,000 a year right now, guess what? You wouldn't have to work ever again. Or if you did, you'd be making $140,000 a year. Pretty cool. So last year, can't talk today. Last week, some great music came out. Signs of the Swarm, if you're into the real heavy stuff. 3 Days Grace, if you're into the rock stuff. We Came as Romans. I don't really know how to describe them, but they're awesome. I'm still listening to Everest like it's my job by Halestorm. So freaking good. Goo Goo Dolls came out with a summer mixtape. So yeah, finally, some good music coming out. Deftones, if that's your thing. The music sounded good, but I really just can't understand the vocals with the Deftones. Like, I enjoy the music. I just don't understand what he's singing. So, like, for me, it's a no-go. But yeah, so here we are. We're rounding the corner, August 27th, heading into the end of summer. So the end of summer is on September 20th. Stop saying summer's over. It's not quite over yet, even though it is feeling a little cold out there in the morning. We're doing those 72 afternoons, 50 degrees at night. I personally love it. I think we're moving in the right direction. But here's the thing. You follow along in this podcast, which is very few of you, but I think we have something that we could give the world here. So over the course of the next 6 months, I'm going to call out a few stocks, just like I did last year. I've basically been just doing it for friends because, I'm not a financial advisor, but I am somebody that taps in to the pulse of the market. And if you want to have outsized returns and you want to beat the S&P 500, you have to take some chances. Here's the thing. I love Amazon. I love Spotify. I love Nike. I love Apple. I love NVIDIA. And these are all companies which I hold. I also own JP Morgan. These are companies that I hold. They're not going to 10x from where they are. Not likely. They might, but it's not likely. What you always have to be doing is you have to be looking for these mid-cap stocks, maybe small-cap stocks, that are going to give you a 10 to 50x return. It's not easy to do, which is why you have to take calculated risks. So today, I did a very rare investment, first time ever, in the Coinbase wallet. I bought a token called Snort. Snort, you are correct. Look it up. That is what I said. Snort. It's a little pig, and that's the coin. Snort is projected to be $1.25 in a year. Right now, it's at 0.0004, less than a penny by far. So I have 260,000 Snort, and it cost me $70. So is the Snort going to make my bags pump my bags, give me some money? I don't know. We will see. $70 is a safe amount of money to try a smart bet on something that's coming out. XRP started the same way. It was like 30 cents, 40 cents. I got my first XRP at $1.20. Bitcoin was $2,000 about 10 years ago, I think. Now it's 112,000. Keep up with the technology. Look into companies like IonQ, CoreWeave. Look into the AI companies. Serve robotics. Literally robots that will serve people. This stuff is scary. Like, how many jobs are going to get lost because of this? But it depends on what side of the fence you're on. Because if the next 5, 10 years you can keep your job and you can make a bunch of money in the investments, you might not need a job. You can live off that $70,000 a year in residual income. Maybe universal basic income becomes a thing. Maybe universal healthcare becomes a thing. But don't bank on that stuff. You need to get going, surround yourself with winners, not wannabes, and you will be just fine. Thanks for tuning in to the Get Firm podcast. I'll see you the next time I have a chance to do one of these. Peace out.